Shannon Sharpe had Cat Williams on, I believe over a week ago now. And obviously we've seen a lot of the clips, but the conversation today that I want to have is the tweet that Ian from the JBP had about about Shannon Sharpe and how he should have put, or not. I don't want to misquote him, but just this idea of putting that type of interview on a paywall. Because for those who don't know, I think the Dr. Umar episode that on JBP is still like a Patreon exclusive, right? So that's never. I don't even think they've said that's gonna go public. But I'm assuming the reason why Ian said that is because of the success that garnered, and he's saying for Shannon Sharpe, like, yo, 30 million, whatever the it is cool, but imagine all of that under a membership.
You want to be me
where
so
you get
bad.
ownership. So
I got the tweet though. Do you not have the tweet? You want me to pull the tweet up?
Yeah, if you could pull the tweet up.
Yeah, I got the tweet. So young Ian Schwartzman, manager for Joe Budden podcast, and I know it's gonna sound crazy when I say it, but it's irrelevant to the conversation. Jewish manager of the Joe Budden podcast said the Cat and Shannon interview was great. 25 million views in 48 hours is even greater. But can you imagine how much bigger of a play it would have been if it was behind a subscription platform that Shannon's had set up under his control? Now, I want to take subscription platform, even though he goes in the comments and says nobody said anything about pay. I want to take subscription platform as a paywall, like a $5 Patreon type situation.
Yeah.
The reason why it's relevant that he was Jewish is because they said that he was hating on black people getting success, da 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 da. But I wonder, as creators, our opinion, and I kind of want to start it off with, when do y'all think something should be behind a paywall?
At least for me, I view Patreon content and exclusive content as a medium for you to make content that your fans want without the pressures of an algorithm. So behind the scenes shit, even like, let's say longer conversations about shit that, let's say you're an NBA YouTuber, but you want to have a conversation about your personal life. You put that on a Patreon because these are your dedicated fans. So when it comes to our podcast, like I view the MVP and Hall of Fame podcast that we used to do and still do to a certain degree, like as that. Like that shit might not be good content on the pod, but yeah, this is extra content for dedicated fans. So when it comes to the conversation about Shannon Sharpe, sometimes you need discoverability. And for an episode like that, hey, I think that is an episode that will raise Club Shay Shay's floor in the near future, in the upcoming future. And that's not necessarily exclusive content for me. So
yeah, I'm scared that this is about to be a trick question, but to my knowledge, at least, and I have a couple of years, but I still feel like a novice in this game. Shit crazy. But to my knowledge, at least, Shannon Sharpe sponsored podcast. I don't know. I'm 90% sure that the drinks that are on there are sponsored as well. I don't know what his ultimate end goal is, but what I can say is Club Shay Shay's direction, in my personal opinion, should be about getting eyeballs on it. And that's one hell of a pod to necessarily hide behind a paywall, because the audience that he has, them niggas ain't paying for that shit. They gonna wait for the Twitter clips. If the podcast was literally just because half the people, I'm not gonna say half the people didn't see it because endless people tuned in to see it, but like, niggas tuned out eventually.
Wait, don't speak to this one just yet. And I'm sorry to cut you off. Okay. Don't speak to this one just yet. Just what do you think? What is content behind the paywall?
What is content behind the paywall?
What should be behind paywall?
All right. So staying on subject, content behind the paywall is bonus content. So said that doesn't have pressure of the algorithm, and or content that is literally just that bonus content. So let's say we do a would you rather or a smash or pass on here, and then there's like 2 minutes and 30 seconds that we think it's cool. Weren't exactly funny enough to make the video, but it's cool. We could have like a editor's cut, an unedited version of that video, or let's say niggas start wilding out. Let's say ass is on the screen. Let's say all that extra shit. So shit like that, to where it's like, hey, we shouldn't be posting that online in terms of, hey, Can't do that. We'd either get yellow marked or can't do that because, hey, man, niggas is wilding. Shit like that. That exclusive content, that extra content, I think that can be behind the paywall necessarily because it's bonus content for your fans that want to see shit the most. So,
Okay.
I personally feel like content behind the paywall for me is one of two things. It's either bonus content or it's literally whatever content you're willing to put out or want to put up in terms. And I say that to mean it could be regular content that you will put out on YouTube or streams you would do on Twitch, but you want to maximize your dollars on it or get the dollars a different way or be able to manage the dollars better instead of relying on the algorithm and whether you're getting yellow marked or whatever. I just put this same 2 hour long video or podcast on this platform that's behind the paywall. I know for a fact that people that's watching this are giving me a baseline, this amount, that amount, and I can do this with it and keep going. And I can always clip this shit up and post it on YouTube and still do it that way. Because it's creators I watch that do like the movie reactions and shit like that. They can't put full fucking movies on YouTube. That's not going to work. But they cut that shit down, drop it. That's how you get the eyes. And if you want to watch this full shit, we do this over here on this live stream on a Patreon. So I don't feel it's just bonus content. It could be your main content, and everything else is a bonus from that. It could be whatever content you want behind it. It's just how you want to maximize the dollars, or know for a fact these hard numbers are coming from this for this to justify it or fund it better.
And I
I
don't
think it's
echo.
I was about to say, I also think it's different if you're an educational content creator too, because I know some people like there's an actual exchange of information when you sign for this subscription. So if you pay $5 a month, you get access to this class. So it's like a more traditional exchange instead of just bonus content. And then some people have played the membership card differently too, because I know this podcast TMG, and the way they do it is they do 2 podcasts a week, or at least when I kept up with them, they do 2 podcasts a week. One is on YouTube, but the intro card is literally, hey, this is the free episode this week. If you want to see the other episode of the week, go on Patreon. But the other episode would be fully on Patreon. So they would essentially use the first podcast to show people, yo, this is what a TMG podcast is. If you want 2 of these a week, go to the Patreon. And they were making like $200K a month, $300, $400K a month. They was making crazy numbers. And I'm pretty sure they're still on it,
So, and I don't want to echo what they said because I think everybody's covered it. So now I want to get into more of the tweak and kind of along the lines of what Sage said. Now you measure it, and mind you, Ian isn't saying go forward and put everything behind a paywall now. But now, how do you measure, I guess, the success of a blow-up episode like this on the free tier and then a blow-up episode like this behind a paywall? And what would make him even say, hey, put something, like, just imagine if you put something like this behind a paywall?
Yeah, you have to, where I was going with this, you have to be literally, and I don't want to imply that he was, I don't know this guy, but you would have to straightforward be looking at dollars, because anything else, it does, even in the straightforward looking at dollars, just the idea of the sponsorship opportunity of Shannon Sharpe being able to pull up to whoever wants to sponsor Club Shay Shay next time for that likely short-term deal, because if I'm Shannon Sharpe, I'm running up short-term deals. And then I'm like, okay, hey, we just did 25 million. And then this next episode probably is going to go crazy as well. Like, as Souls mentioned, the floor on Club Shay Shay is probably much higher now. There's more people that are going to tune in because, one, you're either going to expect people to respond to Cat Williams, or two, that hey, this is like the 4th time on Twitter I've seen some celebrity to pop up on this man's show. So people are not only comfortable going on the show, but they're going to talk like this on the show, and they're going to get some drinks and laugh around and shit. Oh, hell yeah. So the idea of putting it behind a paywall is kind of like, I mean, yeah, there's technically possibly sort of a way you make more, but that's also kind of a risk for no reason, especially with his audience. But that's another us. That's a whole different argument. The idea that his audience wouldn't necessarily go for that, because a lot of niggas say they wouldn't, but they would. We've experienced that as well. But simultaneously, I don't know. I think them niggas have been perfectly fine with them Twitter clips. So that's all I'm gonna say.
I would ask.
Okay.
I would want to know how much of the Joe Budden podcast that we've seen like clips from that have gone crazy, gone viral, because my fault. The Umar shit wasn't the first time I've seen a clip from Joe Rogan. I mean, not Joe Rogan, Joe Budden's podcast. So how much of their exclusive content are we actually watching? If it's quite frequent for those episodes and these big moments to all be behind paywalls for them, and they're getting that kind of traction when it comes to clipping it, putting up, everyone reacting to it, and the only way anyone's been able to see this full thing is through their subscription service or however they're doing it, then yeah, I would be like, I would assume that he knows something that a lot of motherfuckers don't. He's talking from a place of experience, like the Umar episode, or like when he was beefing with Young Boy in those exchanges, or like when he was beefing with Drake. If these are coming behind subscription episodes, I mean, people had to pay to go see those. I doubt it was just a bunch of people watching it for free. To see what he said, to be upset that he did this whole thing. I remember that at the time, people were saying, you did that whole episode and that was behind the paywall. You had to put that behind the paywall, blah, 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 blah. Or that he didn't talk about it, or whatever it was at the time. You had to pay for it to fucking find out. And a lot of people did. So I definitely understand that. Then it would have to come down to what you value and you see as your floor and what's worth, I guess, that episode. If they're saying now you should know going forward, okay, I have a Cat Williams on, put that behind a paywall, or if the episode of Spicy, put that behind the paywall and just release clips. How many of that, how many million does that shit have now? 40, 30?
30.
How many of that 30 million are you converting over into, how many of that is going to be subscriptions now? Is how I would look at it. If I'm saying it going
I
forward.
want to say 300,000 type shit for to make the ends meet, which is possible.
Well, that's not.
But
that's
I
not
also
true.
think that's one-sided
that's
too
fine.
on that calculation. Because okay, so essentially the calculation, we can do it right now real quick, on 30 million views, right? 30 million views. And shout out to MDG. Is that 1,000 bits? I think that's 1,000 bits. Shout out to MDG.
Happy birthday too at that. Yeah.
Happy birthday
Happy
too,
birthday
man.
to you, gang.
So 30 million views, divide that by 1,000. Let's say it's a 2.5 hour podcast, you said, Omar.
Mhm.
So let's say the RPM is $10.
Pocket Watch Hall of Fame. Here we go.
$10, boom. So that's around 315,000, right?
Damn.
So in terms of new signups, to match that, we would divide that by 5.
Put in a
Mind you,
$5 tier.
they also have different tiers, but it would take 630,000 signups.
That's
But
not
I also-
630,000.
Oh, 63,000. 63,000. My bad. But I also think that calculation is flawed, because with the value of those conversions also comes returning viewers and returning revenue, because of the fact that it's a monthly membership.
Right.
So yes, it would take 63,000 to balance that out. But in actuality, you would need less, because let's say you get 30,000, but if that 30,000 renews for
Doubles
2
up.
months, then boom. So
Right.
And I wanna present too, because that's I mean, the reason why I want to even go down this rabbit hole with people is because, you know, we had these conversations when deciding what to put behind paywalls and what to do when making tiers and what should be at X amount of tiers and all that stuff. And I'm looking at Joe Budden's Patreon now. The stuff he offers at the different tiers is similar to kind of like us, where once you go up, you get more access to stuff. Now I also have the ability to preview some catalogs. So he had a Nicki interview. I see an Alexis Texas interview. I know the 2 Umar interviews were at 2 different levels. When they're live, they present, you know, we'll go into this conversation a little bit more in depth on Patreon. So it's very enticing to go, stay, and commit, as opposed to a potential one-off, and then his floor might be raised. Shannon's floor might be raised, but I don't think it'll be raised to where his standard is now, all right, I'm averaging $1 million per video. He did say he gained 500,000 subscribers, but we also got to investigate the value of each individual subscriber and how many more videos they're actually going to watch on Club Shay Shay, because when he goes back to interviewing ex-football player or whatever, it's probably not going to hit the same as somebody who thought they came for a Cat Williams. And then we also have to say to ourselves, what data you can get from doing a subscription-based model. Because if I can get way more data and then have that data to curate to give you better content or give you better ads. That's also important. And then last but not least, you have ownership when you do that subscription-based model more than you have here. I saw this video because somebody linked it. You know, I'm in the Joe Budden community. Somebody linked it in the Joe Budden community about Shannon Sharpe and what he had to do in order to kick off Club Shay Shay. Yeah, when I saw that clip, you know what I heard? I heard what's the Playmakers, or that's what
MCN
I heard. I ain't
talk.
gonna lie. I heard
Yeah,
MCN
that's literally
talk.
what I heard right now, bro.
And niggas saying that I've been hating on Shannon Sharpe for a minute. I haven't. He's been confirming everything that I've been saying. When I said he's not a great interviewer, he literally came out that night and said, "Hey, I'm not an interviewer. I'm a conversationalist." When I said it's possible that he's not gaining all that money based off of this interview, he literally confirmed it with the MCN talk. For those that don't know, and he just confirmed it with the agreement there. Shannon Sharpe started a business. He wanted to go into something for himself. He did not have the infrastructure or the wherewithal how to build the infrastructure. Somebody came to him and said, "Hey, I can do that for you." The only thing that Shannon Sharpe had as a trading chip or a bargaining chip or to offer as a form of collateral or leverage or whatever word you want to use is equity. I believe he gave up a percentage of his AdSense revenue in order to have the volume come in and put production in there. Now, I think that's funny because on the nightcap, that looks like a MacBook laptop and some AirPods. You don't need to give up equity for that. Everything else for his Club Shay Shay show could have been done at a trip to Guitar Center and at a trip to Best Buy. That's 3 FX30s. If you even want to go top of the line for what they have. 3 FX30s, some good lenses, some lapel mics, some boom mics. You go to Guitar Center, get you a Rodecaster. You get you a Rodecaster. You get you some lights, which again, all these things are available like Guitar Center and Best Buy. He lives in Atlanta, so there's some other places. He could have hired somebody to come and show him how to do this as a one-off. But because he did not do his due diligence, it sounded like to me, hey, I signed a 2-year-long contract that says I have to relinquish. I ain't gonna lie, I might say something outrageous. It might sound outrageous. 45% of my AdSense revenue in order to get it.
that far.
I wouldn't go that high, but I'm about to say, as a nigga that
20, 15, but at
well,
that scale, that is a lot.
Well,
though.
and mind you,
Still a lot of money.
I don't know if that's that outrageous because they came in and brought him from 0 to something. So they can ask for more if they're gonna bring you from 0 to something.
That's somewhat fair. I still also don't think I give Unc some credit. I don't think he do 40.
You muted, Damo.
Damn, that's crazy. Nah, I agree with Omar. I definitely think they could have asked more because they started from the absolute beginning. This isn't something that he was doing and then they came on to later on after it already hit 50, 60, whatever thousand, and he already had a floor. He came with absolutely nothing. He just said, "Hey, we could do a show." I'm similar to what he. Honestly, I'm feeling like hearing that he just accepted to do a similar role with more freedom that he had doing the show with Skip. And that was it. And then as he went on, he found out and figured out, oh, I could do X, Y, Z. I could do this. I could do this. But yeah, he just agreed to show up somewhere else. Like he said, I just showed up, did the content, boom. He agreed to do that again. All right, hey, I'll show up, likeness, all that. Cool. And other niggas doing other shit.
And let me say,
is crazy. I ain't gonna lie.
Let me say to the chat real quick. I don't know where he lives for verbatim. I know he has he's lived out here, has a place out here. He probably has a place out in Atlanta too, though. But the difference between him and B Souls, like what you just said, because I don't think it's a secret. B Souls signed to an MCN. You had a channel before you signed to the MCN, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they didn't build you from 0. They didn't need to ship you out equipment and stuff like that, right?
Nah, but I still think it's kind of like they're not building up Shannon from 0. And I would also hope, like, I understand the conversations that Shannon was misinformed, but that he consulted with someone and someone just went at 45% is crazy. 20 I'll budge. 15 I'll budge, but 45 that's OD.
But if you're presented with the thing of like, all right, 45, like this is what we're doing for 45. We'll set you up with an audio engineer, a lighting engineer, a camera engineer, a visual engineer. We'll set you up with maybe like some makeup. We'll set you up with the editing, the thumbnail design. We'll set you up with literally everything. So all you have to do is, just like FS1, be the on-camera talent. We'll hand you the cue cards and all that. And they said to him, we'll just take 45%. But this is what we're offering you for 45%. Now, that doesn't sound like a lot. But when you start to reach these realms, these numbers, because at the beginning it wasn't a lot. When he was pulling, I'm just gonna throw a number out there. When his first video started coming out and he was pulling 30K a video, it wasn't a lot. But then when he started pulling a couple mil a video, or a couple 100,000 a video.
Shit, now that I'm thinking about YouTubers who got plug channels, I could see 30.
Bezos, thank you.
I could see 30.
And I don't want to say
45 is still crazy, but I could see 30, 35. I could see 30,
and I don't want to say who we know that gave up like 45%, but all right then. Up there though, at the top for real.
Man, that boy living good, man.
A millionaire off of editing. A millionaire off of editing.
And he got another one. Damn.
A million. And not
a
another
zillion
one.
Now. A zillion.
Another one. Not another one down here. Another one. Back
one
at the
up
top.
here. Yeah.
Another one at the top. So that's why I'm saying, like, I get the whole paywall. Like, I think when Ian said paywall, people automatically were like, fuck this nigga. He trying to get more money from us. I'm not gonna lie to you. Your $5 is not like, it's not too crazy. I love your $5, but your $5 isn't too crazy. Content creators should be paid first and foremost. But it's about getting that data and having that ownership. I think that supersedes a lot of this stuff. Because when we talk about the YouTube split, taxes, paying out, because the YouTube split, taxes, paying out that let's say production company that he signed to, and then Shannon Sharpe has to take home. That's crazy to me. But if you had ownership and more data and stuff like that, I think it's more valuable. Now, what that number is, there is a number where that doesn't matter, but it's not too bad of a claim.
And I do think Shannon is in the realm of like memberships actually does make sense for him, because there is a point where like discoverability matters over everything, like for real. But with Shannon, he has a leverage of like, because ideally I think people want to make content that, again, they don't have to cater to an algorithm for and make a shit ton of money. Like Shannon is in a position to do exactly just that. Have a membership, make a shit ton of money, and do whatever, like truly do whatever the fuck you want. You don't gotta worry about ad suitability, rely on brands. He is in that position, but a lot of people aren't. But I think you should look into it though. It's not the craziest idea.
Niggas hating.
Depends what his end goal is. Well, yeah, I hear it.
Yeah.
I think his end goal, your end goal should always be ownership. He can't keep, and I'm not saying he'll do this because he said he learned, but you can't keep giving up percentages of the pie every single year. To run some cameras, like, cut the shit on. Just press a couple buttons, hit record, and just keep it pushing.
Yeah. I don't know, but I feel like some people, once they get to a certain floor of revenue, they just don't care. Like they'll sacrifice a lot just to, like if it's 3 mil, 4 mil, whatever the fuck it is, which I do think again Shannon has done. It's like, all right, I mean, 4 mil to not take care of a business and everyone have it do it for me. Like I'll take that. So.